So it is true that rules apply to people differently. If you're tall, you're handsome, you're well off, you probably have advantages over other people. But I believe that even though you have advantages in some areas, you will most definitely have weaknesses in others. Or even that sometimes weaknesses aren't actually weaknesses. They're just perceived that way. So when we talk about this double standard, let's not try to imagine it as right or wrong. It's like playing poker. You may be dealt cards with a lower suit, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're absolutely going to lose. There are so many things that can affect whether you win your hand or not. So I think the big question I would ask when beginning this discussion is that, do you believe that men, namely straight men, can like cute things? Because I think that's the overarching question. Because to me, Idols is like the theater. You go for the music, you go for the costumes, you go for the theatrics, and you go because there are some really cute girls. Now this is somewhat seen as unacceptable for men. The fangirling out moment. There's a clip on the Graham Norton show. Back when Chris Pine and Benedict Cumberbatch were doing their publicity tour for Star Trek Into Darkness, they began calling female fans from the audience to come forth and tell them how far they had traveled to come see these guys. And largely it's seen as a positive thing. It's seen as a badge of honor. Oh, I came from Germany. Oh, I came from Hong Kong. The one who had traveled the furthest was this little lady from Japan. And as Chris Pine ran out into the crowd to give her a hug, I thought to myself, wow, that's really touching. But then I thought to myself, how different would this be if the sexes were reversed? For now, let's negate age. Let's say it was Zoe Saldana and Alice Eve promoting Star Trek Into Darkness. Instead, let's say they were on the show, and the crowd was filled with a bunch of men who had traveled across the world to get a glimpse of the two lovely ladies. I feel like the show would have been shot completely differently. The actresses wouldn't be running into the crowd, giving hugs to the fans, thanking them for coming. And for sure there wouldn't be this tender moment at the end, where the male fan had traveled halfway across the world just to see that one actress. I think probably it would have come off a lot more desperate. Like, oh god, he came all the way out here? He doesn't have anything better to do? And also I think they would be seen as a lot less courageous. Because there's something about this lone female fan braving the world and traveling to see this guy, and let's be honest now, she has a crush on. Like that kind of fangirling, I don't think is acceptable in men. So take something like the Twilight series. You have grown women freaking out about this stuff. And while yes, it's being made fun of, in a way it's largely seen as acceptable. Now again, I'm not trying to argue right or wrong. I'm not saying that this is a huge injustice and that men should be treated in a different way. But we all know these differences exist. And instead of spending so much time arguing about the fairness of these standards, I think we should focus on being a little bit more understanding of why they exist and how to navigate through them better. In reference to my poker metaphor, those are the cards you're dealt. So let's focus more on the skills to win versus focusing on the cards themselves. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.